In the winter of 1942, Allied night bombing runs over occupied Europe were defined by freezing temperatures and the constant threat of enemy interceptors. But airmen began reporting something that didn't fit the profile of the Luftwaffe. Bright, glowing, spherical objects, later dubbed Foo Fighters, would pull alongside the planes, pacing the terrified crews at high altitudes. These heavy B-17s pushed their maximum speed of roughly 280 miles per hour, yet the glowing orbs darted around them with ease, executing instant stops and turns that would destroy any conventional airframe. These encounters were far from isolated. Reports of the objects exploded from a few dozen sightings to over 200 documented military accounts filed by highly trained observers across the entire European theater. Allied military command faced a documented aerospace threat operating with total impunity in their airspace, far beyond the capabilities of combat fatigue or weather anomalies. Military command immediately classified the sightings, desperate to prevent mass hysteria while they struggled to identify the source of the phenomena. The secret finally broke on December 14, 1944. The New York Times ran a front-page headline declaring, "Floating mystery ball is new Nazi air weapon." Public fear mounted as the military refused to provide a concrete explanation, leaving a narrative vacuum that only heightened the sense of a supernatural threat. The U.S. military was trapped. They had to either admit they were helpless against an unknown force or confess the Nazis possessed physics-defying technology far beyond Allied capabilities. Following the war, the Office of Technical Services, the OTS, scoured Germany to capture advanced scientific data before it could be seized by other powers. Lieutenant Colonel A.R. Sullivan Jr. authored the official military conclusion, claiming the balls of fire had no connection to German technology discovered during the occupation. Nick Cook uncovered unredacted OTS reports contradicting Sullivan, detailing Nazi radio-controlled craft in Brunswick, directed energy in Vienna, and electromagnetic vehicle interference fields in Stuttgart. The Sullivan Memo served as a calculated whitewash designed to end public and congressional inquiry into advanced electromagnetic propulsion. Leaked intelligence from Renato Vesco suggests the Nazis successfully combined these scattered subsystems into complete operational drone prototypes. The Feuerball, built in Oberammergau, projected intense electromagnetic fields to disrupt Allied flight instruments. In Thuringia, engineers constructed the Kugelblitz, a larger radio-controlled platform built within an underground weapons complex. Vesco sourced these details from official British and American intelligence files, but modern investigators found those records were meticulously removed from the public record. This systematic erasure of prototype files suggests the deep state captured the secret of electromagnetic warfare and buried it to maintain a technological monopoly. If these weren't ghosts or glowing angels, what physical mechanism were the pilots actually seeing? The sightings likely represent the early operationalization of plasma aerodynamics. When a massive electric field is applied to humid air, it strips the electrons away from ambient nitrogen and oxygen molecules. This ionized moisture generates a highly luminous, self-contained plasma envelope around the craft. The glowing orbs resulted from a high-voltage electromagnetic field violently interacting with the atmosphere. The 1942 encounters represent the first deployment of an autonomous, radio-controlled drone cloaked in a high-voltage electromagnetic field. While observers often project supernatural mythology onto advanced technology, the hard data shows the reality of weaponized physics. Allied intelligence scrubbed this history to prevent the public from learning that these capabilities were terrestrial. The military concealed the Foo Fighter reports to protect the genesis of the terrestrial plasma drone program, the same radar spoofing technology the modern Black Fleet still uses to dominate the skies.
Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping straight into a highly classified intersection of World War II aviation and bleeding-edge physics. We're going to be looking at a history that has literally been hiding in plain sight, transforming hard intelligence archives, military logs, and advanced patents into a visual journey to uncover the true origins of the modern UAP phenomenon.
So, to really understand this, picture yourself trapped inside the freezing, pitch-black belly of a B-17 Flying Fortress bomber at night. Imagine the deep shadows, those stark bursts of flak going off right outside your window, and just the absolute dread of the unknown. You're a gunner. You look out into the freezing European theater, and you realize something is out there, and it is definitely not a German fighter plane. So what exactly was hunting our pilots?
Allied pilots flying these absolute nightmare night missions were suddenly being intercepted by these totally bizarre anomalies. They called them Foo Fighters. We're talking swarms of intensely bright, glowing spherical orbs. And they weren't just floating lazily either. They were maneuvering around our bombers at impossible speeds, effortlessly keeping pace with aircraft flying at hundreds of miles per hour. They'd execute sudden zero-inertia stops and just loiter for hours. I mean, doing that would cause catastrophic aerodynamic disintegration in literally any conventional rocket or aircraft of that era.
Now, you know the classic narrative, right? The government wants us all to believe UFOs didn't show up until after the atomic bomb in 1947. But man, the actual military logs tell a completely different story. The modern UAP era actually started smack in the middle of World War II. We're looking at a sudden spike of 22 sighting cases in 1942 alone, and that just exploded into over 202 documented military encounters by the end of the war in 1945. This was absolutely not a rare, isolated event. It was a constant, terrifying presence up there.
Naturally, the military tried desperately to keep this classified, but the sightings became so massive and were witnessed by so many American and British aircrews that it eventually leaked to the press. On December 14, 1944, the New York Times officially published this exact headline: "Floating mystery ball is new Nazi air weapon." And yeah, it sparked absolute public terror. As you might expect, when public panic threatens a classified reality, the intelligence community immediately fired up a massive whitewash operation.
And here is where the cover-up gets really fascinating. After the war, the U.S. Office of Technical Services, the OTS, was explicitly tasked with pulling classified German documentation out of the country. They put out an official memo by Lieutenant Colonel A.R. Sullivan Jr., which firmly stated that the Balls of Fire and Foo Fighters had zero connection to any technology found in Germany. Case closed, right? Well, years later, aerospace author Nick Cook uncovered the raw, unredacted OTS reports. These files proved Sullivan's memo was almost certainly falsified just to shut down any further UAP investigations. The raw files proved Nazi facilities were already actively building the subsystems for these exact drones.
What is truly staggering here is how decentralized this technology was. Cook's unredacted files revealed the exact laboratories across Europe building these subsystems. It's like a terrifying, decentralized jigsaw puzzle. In Brunswick, they were developing autonomous, radio-controlled craft. Down in Vienna, they focused on weaponizing it through directed energy experiments. And in Stuttgart, a team was actively using electromagnetic fields to interfere with vehicle motors. They were piecing together highly advanced tech right under the radar.
The terrestrial drones, the Feuerball and the Kugelblitz.
See, they weren't just researching components in isolation, they were actually building the physical hardware. This intel leaked into the post-war record through Italian author Renato Vesco, citing classified sources. He gave us the specific names and locations of these highly classified weapon systems. First up was the Feuerball, built in Oberammergau, Bavaria. This thing was specifically designed to project intense electromagnetic fields to interfere with the engines and delicate instruments of Allied aircraft. It was basically an early, aggressive form of electronic warfare meant to blind our bombers.
They also built a larger, darker platform known as the Kugelblitz. This one is just wild. It was constructed in a subterranean weapons complex in Thuringia. According to the intelligence Vesco cited, these were advanced, radio-controlled drones shaped kind of like the shell of a tortoise. Just think about that for a second. Autonomous, electromagnetic drones hunting in the dark skies of Europe over 3/4 of a century ago.
But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Vesco claimed he got his classified data directly from the British Intelligence Objectives Subcommittee and the US-UK administered Combined Intelligence Objectives Subcommittee. But if you try to access those exact same files in modern archives today, nothing. Zero evidence that the Kugelblitz or Feuerball exists. The intelligence community totally scrubbed the files from the public record to hide the terrestrial origins of the plasma drone.
Act 4. Angels or Plasma Aerodynamics.
So it all comes down to this critical crossroads. We're terrified World War II pilots seeing supernatural angels made of fire, or were they witnessing the absolute bleeding edge of plasma physics? Well, the hard science answers that for us. Take a look at U.S. Patent 6527221B1, officially granted for plasma aerodynamics. This is the exact same radar spoofing technology patented in the modern era to hide terrestrial drones. It involves generating a highly luminous plasma envelope to actively reduce a craft's radar cross-section and totally eliminate aerodynamic drag. The craft projects a powerful electromagnetic field ahead of its leading edge, turns the air into a glowing plasma sheath, and essentially flies inside a self-generated low-pressure plasma cushion.
The physics here are undeniable, deeply grounded in Lord Kelvin's late 19th century research and Nikola Tesla's experiments back in 1894. It basically works in 3 steps. 1, you blast human air with a massive electric field. 2, that intense field strips electrons right off the ambient nitrogen and oxygen molecules. And 3, it rapidly ionizes the surrounding moisture into this crazy high-voltage plasma envelope. It creates an intense, continuous corona discharge that, to a terrified observer, looks literally exactly like a supernatural ball of fire.
And that leads us to the ultimate optical and electronic illusion, summed up right here in the plasma frequency equation. This formula dictates exactly how the generated envelope perfectly absorbs terrestrial radar while simultaneously blinding the naked eye and infrared sensors with high-voltage luminescence. When an incoming radar wave hits this plasma sheath, it doesn't bounce off the metal hull inside, the plasma just eats it. And to a thermal camera, thanks to Planck's law, it just registers as a massive, intensely bright, shapeless ball of energy.
Which leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought to take away from this explainer. To a B-17 gunner back in 1942, staring out into a freezing, chaotic night, an autonomous, radio-controlled drone using a high-voltage electromagnetic field looks exactly like a glowing angel or a supernatural spirit. So we really have to ask ourselves, was the military fighting ghosts in 1942 or simply witnessing the dawn of the exact same terrestrial plasma drones operating in our skies today? Keep questioning what you see up there.